Memories 11. Once, it was said, the March of Silence in Convocate Hall had been used by leaders of the ruling families to arrange for their enemies' censure, imprisonment, or execution. Its construction and acoustics were such that a conversation could realistically hold no more than 4 or 5 people, without those on the outside edge being unable to hear what was being said in the center. But that had been thousands of years ago. Now, with the enlightenment that came from political maturity, the march had become a gathering place for speakers and syndics who wished to discuss political matters without one of them having to show the weakness inherent in meeting in another's office. As Councillor Thurfian watched Councillor Zistalmu approaching from the other end of the march, he wondered if the Arizi would appreciate the irony of the proposal he was about to lay out. Zistalmu's path was by necessity somewhat meandering as he carefully skirted the other conversational groups at distances calculated to avoid unintentional eavesdropping. Finally, he reached Thurfian and stepped up beside him. "Aristocra Thurfian," he said, nodding. "Aristocra Zistalmu," Thurfian returned the greeting. "Let me get straight to the point. I understand the Arizi have approached Senior Commander Mithra Nuru about detaching from the myth and joining your family." A flicker of surprise and suspicion touched Zistalmu's usually unreadable expression. "I was under the impression such offers were confidential until and unless they were finalized." "It was a chance overhearing," Thurfian said. "I also understand that he declined your offer." "Not officially," Zistalmu hedged. "The offer remains open." "No, he's declined it," Thurfian said. "You've seen Thrawn's record. He doesn't hesitate when he sees a tactical advantage. If he hasn't accepted by now, the answer is no." "Perhaps," Zistalmu eyed him. "I presume you didn't invite me here simply to gloat at our failed attempt." "Not at all," Thurfian said. "Invited you here to see if you had any interest in bringing him down." The unreadable expression held firm this time. But Thurfian could tell it was a near thing. "I don't understand." "It's simple enough," Thurfian said. Zistalmu could cause immense trouble for him, he knew, if he repeated any of this to one of the myth counselors or syndics. But Thurfian had a good feel for Zistalmu's goals in politics, and he was pretty sure that wouldn't happen. "I've seen Thrawn's record, too. He has the potential to do great things in the service of the fleet. He also has an equal potential of bringing ruin to the myth, and possibly to the entire Ascendancy." Zistalmu favored him with a mocking smile. "Bringing ruin to the myth doesn't sound so bad." The smile faded. "But the Ascendancy is another matter." "Then you agree with me?" "I don't know how you made that jump from a simple comment in favor of the Ascendancy," Zistalmu said. "But if we're being honest, yes, you see the same potential for both glory and disaster. Though the rest of the Arizi apparently don't." Zistalmu waved a hand. "The recruitment offer was their attempt to steal Thrawn away from the myth. I doubt any of them bothered to look deep enough into his record to see what you and I are seeing. So what exactly are you proposing?" "At this point, nothing but watchfulness," Thurfian said, feeling a slight lessening of his tension. "That should be easy to do, given that our two families have already assigned us to watch over military matters. We simply continue that procedure, only with an eye toward coordinating our response if we see something dangerous in the works." "Won't be easy," Zistalmu cautioned. His eyes narrowed in thought. "For whatever reason, he seems to have made staunch allies of General Bakif and Commodore Aralani. Those are powerful and influential people." "I agree," Thurfian said. "Bakif's probably untouchable, but Aralani was once Arizi. She might still be amenable to pressure." "I doubt it," Zistalmu said sourly. "I've talked with her once or twice since her promotion, and she's very intent on upholding her new non-family status." "Then we focus on Thrawn," Thurfian said, "and perhaps some of his less highly placed allies." "You'd know more about that than I would," Zistalmu said. "Very well, we'll watch and wait and see." He looked around. "And of course we'll speak of this to no one." "Absolutely," Thurfian said. "Thank you, Aristocra. Hopefully we'll never be called upon to act, but if we are, then we act." Zistalmu gestured around the corridor. "I trust you noted the irony of our discussion given the March of Silence's reputed history." "I did," Thurfian said. "We'll speak again, Aristocra." "Indeed we will." With a nod, Zistalmu turned and walked away in the direction of his office. And as Thurfian turned in the other direction, a belated thought occurred to him. The march's history spoke of some of the aristocra being dealt with for crimes occasionally as dark as treason. The question was whether Thrawn would be the object of any such future charge, or whether it would be Thurfian and Zistalmu. Only time would tell.